What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of TSC. Sorry I'm not on camera. I'm still dealing with a bad cold, but I've got more breaking news regarding Big Cass's shocking firing, which, when you find out the details, it's really not that shocking. So, according to WrestlingNews.co, Big Cass apparently had the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back last Friday. And what happened was, Big Cass had apparently gotten into an argument with Carmella, the current SmackDown Women's Champion. For those that don't know, Big Cass is the former boyfriend of Carmella. They were in a long-term relationship. They owned a house together. And Big Cass grabbed her arm, which, according to this report, caused several wrestlers to intervene and separate him and say, "What the hell are you doing?" Now, look, I don't know if they were still friends or are still friends or whatever. At the end of the day, especially when you're 7 foot tall, you don't want to be grabbing a woman's arm, whether she's your friend or not. You don't do that. Now, you might think that's a little bit of an overreaction. Why'd they fire him for that? Well, when you factor in the other reports from Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet and Dave Meltzer of WrestlingObserver.com, you'll see that this was a combination of a whole lot of things. You see, according to Meltzer, Big Cass is a big Trump supporter. Okay, whatever. Keep your political views to yourself. But apparently he made such a stink about it that last year he had caused a big argument with Sami Zayn, who's one of the most well-respected members of the locker room, and may have made some questionable comments about Muslims. And oh, by the way, Sami Zayn is of Muslim faith. Okay, on top of that, he's been injury prone, right? His promos haven't been good. His in-ring work has not been great at all. Factor that in with reported attitude issues. And on top of that, get this. He was on a bus during the European tour, thought he was locked in the bathroom, broke down the door. And for those that don't know, those European tour buses, those bus rides that the superstars have to be on, men and women, could be roughly 4 to 6 hours long. Now imagine if you're a man, or especially a woman, having to go to the bathroom at one point with the door broken freaking down. On top of that, he reportedly did not take advice. Vince McMahon said, "Hey, when you work with that little person like you did a couple weeks ago, don't rough him up. Just hit him with the big boot." And excuse me while I take a sip of water here. Whew. Anyway, Big Cass is making me lose my big voice. So, what Big Cass did was rough up that little person and hit him with a barrage of punches, despite the fact that Vince McMahon said, "Hey, just keep it limited to a big boot." So he disobeyed Vince once, right? Actually, twice. Because what happened after that, or maybe it was a week after, before, whatever. If you guys remember, Big Cass got this awful long-winding promo on SmackDown. Well, which one? One of the recent ones. And apparently, he went off script, and he did not rehearse the promo that Vince McMahon asked him to recite. You know, the boss, who's worth roughly $2.2 billion, who signs his checks, or I guess signed his checks. So, to surmise everything, to sum it all up, okay? Let's see. Bad backstage attitude. Doesn't take direction directly from the boss. Alienated his coworkers. And by the way, he's not the only person that probably leans right or whatever in the locker room. But guess what? Everybody else in the locker room, from what I understand, for the most part, magically gets along great. Whether it be veterans, rookies, whatever. I'm sure some guys don't get a fair shake. But for the most part, it's a pretty happy locker room. Yet, Big Cass alienated himself. Big Cass exercised anger issues. And overall, from what I understand, Big Cass seemed to be unhappy with losing to Daniel Bryan, one of the biggest stars of the last decade. So that's going to do it for him. And, well, that's what happened to Big Cass. But also, on top of that, as you can see on screen, Sami Zayn is getting his butt whooped right now. But in real life, he'd probably kick his ass. He will be missing the rest of 2018 with not one, but 2 torn rotator cuffs. And he won't be back until 2019 until WWE.com. So, good news, we no longer have to deal with the big bum and Big Cass. But bad news, a generally nice guy like Sami Zayn, who's a great worker, has to miss the rest of the year. So, get well soon, Sami Zayn. Kiss my ass, Big Cass. And folks, I'd love to hear from you before I lose my voice. What do you think about these two big stories? Where do you think Big Cass goes from here? Let me know. Leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, take care. Sorry about my voice. Hopefully I'll get it back next week. And as always... Enjoy the matches, because you can't teach that. All right, that was horrible. Blame it on the medication.